Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Got a good program today, folks. Jessica Freeberg will be in just a little bit. We'll do Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. But first, I have not one but two guests today. And I have a great book that I've had the pleasure of reading this weekend. And two very esteemed guests at that. Burl Barer and Frank Girardot Jr. are both back with me this week. And a wonderful book that takes place in West Hollywood. We're going to get into it right away and talk about this book because it's not only is it complicated, but it's wonderful. It deals with a lot of different wonderful topics having to do with West Hollywood and Los Angeles. The book is called Where Murder Lies, Death and Deception in West Hollywood. Let me tell you a little bit about both my guests. First, Burl Barer is a New York Times best-selling author, Edgar Award winner, and two-time Anthony Award nominee with extensive media, advertising, marketing, and public relations experience, garnering accolades in his creative contributions to radio, television, and print media. Burl's career has been highlighted in the London Sunday Telegraph, New York Times, USA Today, Variety, and on ABC's Good Morning America. He's hosted the internet's first award-winning true crime podcast, True Crime Uncensored, for 17 years. The author of several true crime classics. Burl's co-authored with our guests here, Frank Girardot Jr., Betrayal in Blue and A Taste for Murder. Frank Girardot Jr. is born in Detroit on January of 1961. We'll quiz him on him later as to when his birthday is. I know it's a joke. And an award-winning journalist, author, victim advocate, and former radio host. His career launched as a copyboy at the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, evolving into coverage of a landmark cases like the OJ Simpson Trial. Frank's acclaimed biography, Becoming Clark Rockefeller, a great book at that. Love that book. Exposed serial imposter Christian Gerhartsreiter. I'll get it right, a.k.a. Clark Rockefeller, board member of Justice for Homicide Victims. He is the author of Burned and co-author with Burl Barer of Betrayal in Blue and A Taste for Murder with Burl Barer, blending meticulous reporting with compassionate advocacy. Again, the book we're discussing today, Where Murder Lies, Death and Deception in West Hollywood. Burl, Frank, thank you so much for being back here on True Crime Tuesday.
Our pleasure.
Wow. Thanks for having us. It's our pleasure for sure, Tim. Well, and looking forward to having a discussion with you and your audience about this book.
Well, thank you both so much for coming on. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the subject of this book and a little bit about how you came about this book. Tell us a little bit. We'll start with you, Frank, about the basis of this book, what this book is all about.
Sure. This book is about a pretty unremarkable murder that took place in a West Hollywood apartment just at almost more than 20 years ago. The victim and the crime were little noted. The perpetrators were hardly, super criminals by any stretch of the imagination. And the case itself was adjudicated pretty quickly, so that the guilty party went to prison. Many years have passed. The man who was found guilty in this case, Jimmykitlas, is the subject of our book. He's out of prison now. He's on parole. And the reason that we're writing this is because of Burl's wonderful connection to the community. And he I'm sure that he would like to tell you about Kelleyleigh, who actually brought this story to us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Kelleyleigh was back in 2004, but I turned an unlicensed pharmaceutical supplier to the people of West Hollywood and Hollywood, North Hollywood. In other words, she was a drug dealer, mostly pot, cocaine, etc. That's not how I met her. I met her in would have been November 2003 when I first came back to Los Angeles. And I checked in a place called Beit Teshuva, which is a Jewish organization, Jewish community center that also helps people with various health issues, recovery issues, for all sorts of things. And I needed that at that time. Just been through a bad divorce. My insurance was canceled, and I needed to get my meds. Anyway, she was doing intake there. And that's how I met her. We became friends. I became friends with her and her husband. And a few years later, several years later, she says, Burl, we're having dinner together. She says, Burl, you're a true crime writer, aren't you? And I says, yeah. And she reaches in a box and pulls out screen like printout, dot matrix trial transcripts. And I wish I would have grabbed that one right there because it was very significant, as we'll find out later, and having to do with evidence being suppressed. She says, I've got a hell of a true crime story. This kid went to prison for 20 years to life, and there is far, far more to this than anybody knows. And I think you should investigate and see what the hell was really going on. Well, I took a look and went, yeah, there's something going on, all right. I asked Frank if he wants to get involved. Thank God I did. He's a pit bull going after this stuff. And things unraveled or peeled back the onion from there. Took us 6 years, but we got it done.
Now, with this case, and this is the kind of interesting part, and you say it's kind of a, I don't want to mess up the way you put this, Frank, but it's not really a mundane little case or a quiet little case. It really, the way it unravels, it becomes complex. I mean, you talk about, there's little ties to, I don't know, Russian mafia maybe, or there's little, the oil industry, or there's things that kind of spiral out of control in this book. I mean, there's little tentacles everywhere, isn't there?
It's Chinatown, Jake.
That's right. Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
But
that's true. He's got it right.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, yes, the case in and of itself, by itself, is unremarkable. But as Burl said, it's really an onion, right? And when we look at this initially, we're looking at the outer layer, the skin of the onion, this thing. But we're trying to figure out the reason that Kelley came to Burl was because she felt that Jimmy was wrongfully convicted and that his co-defendant bore some responsibility in this murder. And his co-defendant was not convicted, actually found innocent. So we started to dig because, like, if you have, as a journalist, right, if you're confronted with this dichotomy, you got to figure out, well, how did we get here? And at what point do these cases diverge? One becomes guilty and one becomes innocent. And we dug. And the first thing that we found was that Jimmy's co-defendant was, a low-level associate of the Russian mafia, whose uncle was a, high-ranking member of the Russian mob. The second thing that we found, and something that, was buried in that paperwork that kelleyleigh shared with Burl, was that the low-ranking affiliate, Jimmy's friend, Mark, was also an informant for the DEA, the FBI, and the Pasadena Police Department. That creates an entire new set of circumstances for this crime, and possibly could lead us to the motive, the opportunity, and the circumstance for it to take place. And we began digging. 6 years later, we had a book.
And not everyone was willing to cooperate. Some people were, other people, well, the Russian mob family of various heights of importance to the mob, their lawyer literally begged me, please don't write this book. Please don't write this book. And Frank and I both, I said, listen, you can view everything, you can comment on everything. And no.
So, and it's been our experience that, when we talk to, people on both sides of our books, that we get a richer and more honest telling of, of the tale there within. Burl and I collaborated on a book called Betrayal in Blue, mm-hmm. which is the story of, corrupt New York police officers. And, we talked to the cops, and we talked to their friends, but we also talked to the drug dealers that were, bringing cocaine from South America into New York City, and got that level of detail into the story. So here we sought to talk to the Russian gangsters. We weren't able to, but we were very fortunate in that there are paper trails everywhere. There's a pretty good record of what happened in this case in terms of like trial transcripts, appellate court documents. And as we started to uncover other characters that were peripherally affiliated with this, we found there's a really great paper trail of federal criminal cases and documentation of trial transcripts and all that kind of stuff. Now, that's not to say we only relied on paperwork, because we did interview lots and lots of people. One of the guys that we interviewed was a fellow named Dan Patterson, who's I wouldn't even say he's an affiliate. He's like more of a fixer type of guy who's involved even with, nefarious characters going back to the Nixon administration. We just kept peeling back and peeling back and peeling back until we got to the heart of the story.
And everything was connected. Frank and I would talk about when we're writing this book. We have maybe a unique system of writing. We don't sit down and write together. We'll say, okay, you take the next chapter, I'll take the one after that, or whatever happens to have the information. And so, well, okay, how do we warn the reader that we're going to tell them a story that appears to have absolutely nothing to do with this murder, but trust us, it does. And so we had to play with various ways of setting up these stories to make the reader not be suddenly, well, what the hell is this?
Yeah, what universe am I in here?
I was going to say, there's a point when I'm reading this book where I'm like, why am I here? And then I realized I had to go back and I had to kind of connect the dots for a second. But you have to, in all fairness, you have to hang in there and you have to realize that it does all connect. And it's a complicated onion, as you guys keep saying. There, it's an onion, but it is all connected. And it's kind of weird how organized crime is really organized, but it's so disorganized. It's organized. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, you have the totally different. The Russian mob is nothing like the American mafia. You don't have Russian mob families with capos and blah blah blah. No, entirely different. They just, hey, if I was Russian and I had a great idea for a scam and I could get my buddies together, we could do it. And another interesting thing is that in Russia, the criminal economy is actually considered part of the gross national product. We don't do that in America. We don't go, well, our criminal economy is kept separate, underground. But in Russia, 63% of our economy is criminal. They acknowledge it right off the top. And that makes a difference. And so it's viewed not as something negative. We have that section of the book by Stan Netshev, I never could pronounce his name correctly, but a career criminal in the Russian mob, who's an acquaintance of mine, who very kindly cooperated, and as much as he could, told us what it was like growing up in that atmosphere, where, like, for the women, being a sex worker is considered a perfectly legitimate, go for it occupation, just like being a CPA or whatever it might be. And for guys, they could pick whatever area of crime they wanted to go into. And we don't have the picture in the book, but I do have it of his body, which has tattoos all over it. And what the tattoos are of the types of crimes they specialize in.
Whoa.
So you can look at their tattoos. It's like the resume.
Jeez.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
And he cooperated. He was cooperating with the book. And he said, they make us look worse than we are. They always say, the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. Be afraid. We're the bad guys in the movies. He says, some of they're the ones that make the most money in the Russian mob aren't the murder for hire guys. They're the people doing the gas tax, excise tax scams.
Okay, so Burl, that's covered extensively in the book, and let's talk a little bit about the gas tax scam.
Yeah.
Let's.
Frank knows all about that.
I
He's
want to.
practically has a degree in
I want
it.
to. I want to talk about it in the present tense, and then let's go back to the past tense, Frank, real quick. Um, in the here and now, is that a current scam that can be run? Because I know it was prevalent in the past, but can you even run that scam now?
No, you can't, because
Okay.
so back then, when if you were a gasoline wholesaler who sold gas to gas stations, you bought the gas station collected the money and the tax, and then paid the government and the wholesaler for separately. So and so that's the setup for this scam, right?
Mhm.
So what the Russian mob would do was they would set up LLCs that were wholesalers. They would buy gasoline. They would distribute it either at gas stations that they owned, or gas stations that their friends owned, or gas stations that they took over, and collect the fee to pump. And a lot of times they would only charge like a penny less than the guy across the street. um, so you collect that whole price with the 6 cents of gas tax in it, and bust out the gas station, put the tax in your pocket, and walk away. It was so lucrative in Long Island and Brooklyn that the Italian mobsters, Michael Francesi talks a lot about this, but in the Lucchese and Gambino families, saw that there was this huge money making scheme going on, and they wanted a piece of it. And when they got a piece of it, they applied Italian mafia techniques to it, and turned it into instead of a $10 million operation, they turned it into a $100 million operation. Mikeitaev, a key figure in our book, Where Murder Lies, knew very well how this scam worked, and he brought it west to California, and did it at several gas stations in the Los Angeles area before he encountered federal authorities who arrested him in connection with one of these scams. And in terms of like finding paperwork connected to our case and court trials and all that, that's really our first opportunity to sort of run into him. And interestingly enough, at that time in the mid 90s, I was a cops reporter in the Los Angeles area who covered that particular story. And as as this sort of thing unfolded and Burl and I talked about it, like that light bulb went off in my head, where I went, oh my God, I've written about this guy before.
Mhm.
So, dug back through my stuff and found the old tax scam case. And then, um, you know, I began to realize that what Kelly had told Burl was not only true, but there was a lot of other backstory going on.
Wow. It's funny how that all comes back around, right? How
Yeah.
things are cyclical, and but there's certain things that do eventually phase out, and eventually law enforcement gets kind of hip to how the game is played, and they figure out how to shut down certain things, and how that gas tax scam is no longer able to be played. You can't play that out anymore. It's they effectually have taken that out of the arsenal, and that's no longer a scam that can be played. Uh,
Right.
although now, you take that now to technology. I mean, now there's technological scams that are run on a higher level.
Or I mean, in Minnesota, they talk about the child care centers, and whatever,
Yeah.
whatever's happening in those child care centers, there must be some kernel of, at one or two of them or a dozen of them where some kind of a fraud is taking place. Because the key is, and all the mobster guys will tell you this, is that if there's easy money to be made, they're gonna get into the system and make the easy money. And it's that would be the modern iteration of the gas tax scam.
That was all done off of COVID money, PPE money. I have I can't tell you who it is, but I have a friend who works as a forensic accountant who, and this is a lot of, I'll just kind of put a crack in the door here for you guys real quick. There's a lot of misinformation out there in the media. The state of Minnesota has been ahead of the federal government on a lot of this stuff, and they have been cracking down on a lot of the criminals that already. I mean, for the last year or two, they've been tracking down a lot of the criminals and cracking down on a lot of the criminals and tracking down a lot of the. Because I have a friend who's been working on tracking down where all this money went. And there's a reason why they know how many billions of dollars are missing, because they've tracked down where all, who took all this money. They know
where it started, where it went, and where it might have ended up. Yeah.
They've already started, they've already prosecuted criminals. They've already put people up. And so
a lot of that story is like a year old.
Oh, it's more than that. Burl, it's like it's 2 or 3 years old now. So this isn't new.
They have like 50 people pled guilty. There's already people gone to prison for it.
Yeah. There's
but it's being sold like it happened last week.
It's right, and it's to the point now where they know where the money is in Somalia. It's that advanced. So it's not like any of this is new. So I don't get the outrage. I really don't. In fact, the fact that they came up with a figure of, I think they went from 9 billion to 18 billion, which is kind of a lot, but the figure is somewhere around 11 to 12 billion, somewhere in there. But the fact of the matter is none of this is surprising. I mean, we know about it here. And it's being handled, right?
And I mean, I'm just going to say, to like bring it back around, that I think it all comes down to government money, the availability of it, and the ease in which, initially, whether it's, excise taxes paid by the end user or, COVID and PPE emergency funds that are intended for one thing and used for another, people who are criminals, like those we talk about in our book, know how to find the cracks, like the one that you just opened, squeeze through the door, turn on the tap, and in many cases get out before they're ever caught.
But I'm sorry, the one other point I was going to point out here, and I'll throw it back to you, Frank, was this. I watched, I'm trying to remember the name of the program on Vice, but it was the actor from The Wire who passed away. He had the series that was on Vice, and he was showing back a couple of years ago, he was showing criminals who were taking PPE money directly from the government, and he was showing it on camera. I mean, it wasn't necessarily from one ethnic group or another. They were doing it nationwide. I mean,
it was free money.
It was free money. Yeah. Everyone, I shouldn't say everyone was doing it. That sounds like a misnomer, but I mean, the entire criminal underground was
people that knew how to do this were, it capitalized and in our book, these guys are really good at finding loopholes. And, what we wanted to know was, why was Mark a DEA informant, or an FBI informant, or an informant for the Pasadena Police Department? And why, what was he willing to give up in order to, help his uncle? And that's where we started really uncovering scams. Like, for example, his uncle, Mike, and a friend, Dan Patterson, set up a fake company that bought gold on credit from a government gold supplier, with and telling the gold supplier that, they were affiliated with Caltech and JPL, and that they had a nuclear science lab in a rundown apartment in a in a seedy neighborhood, nowhere near JPL, and not even within spitting distance of Caltech. But it's so believable that somebody in Pasadena would want to purchase gold for a science project, that this company in Massachusetts loaded gold sheets and gold wire on a truck and drove it out here to deliver to a guy who identified himself as Dr. Charles Schultz.
Yeah.
Also the creator of the Peanuts cartoon.
Yeah.
That's really the end result of a lot of the scams, is that the scammers either get cocky or lazy, or some combination of cocky and lazy, and get caught. And in this instance, mikeitaev was caught up in the gold scandal, and as that unraveled, he was also involved in MDMA smuggling, counterfeit Viagra manufacturing, and a whole bunch of other sorts of schemes to generate money that ended up with him being sent to jail.
I'll tell you what, I want to take a break here, Burl and Frank. When we come back, what's interesting about this book is from just one murder investigation, you start to talk about informants and what the integrity of informants. When we come back, I want to talk about why informants aren't necessarily the way to go in investigations, and you address that as well in this book, which is very interesting. In the fact that maybe that isn't necessarily the way to go with investigations in the future. So when we come back, I want to talk about that and why that is. So when we come back, let's talk about that. Name of the book is Where Murder Lies, Death and Deception in West Hollywood. Burl Barer and Frank Girardot Jr. are my guests and the authors of this wonderful book. It's available right now. It's published by WildBlue Press. We have a link in the description of this program. Guys, I encourage you to go get this book. It is an exciting book. It's a wonderful book, and a book that'll make you think. It really makes you think about just where the justice system is, how we go about processing different things in the justice system. It makes you think about the criminal system in the way that things operate, and exactly how disorganized organized crime really is, and how things and boy, it gets you thinking about stuff. It really does. And just how in the butterfly effect is brought up in this as well. Maybe we'll talk about that as well when we come back with Burl and Frank. We'll do that next, right here on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guests are Burl Barer and Frank Girardot Jr. The name of the book, Where Murder Lies, Death and Deception in West Hollywood. It's put out by WildBlue Press, and we have a link in the description of this program so you can go get it. And again, folks, I encourage you to go get this book. Starts out with the murder of a retired Los Angeles school teacher, and boy, it explodes from there. And we go all over the place, everywhere from the Russian mob to gas tax scams to informants to the drug game to wherever you want to go. But it all comes right back to that one murder. And there's everything. I mean, we talk about butterfly effects in here. And I guess, Burl, I want to go to you on this. The word butterfly effect is brought up in this.
Well, I've got to compliment Frank, who does a fine job of rewriting some of my material. We often talk about how do we set up to tell people that what they're about to read has something to do with the story. Because as you noted, it just goes, whoa, we have a dead body on the bed, and this spins off into a plot to steal $1.6 billion in gold, smuggle MDMA, a joint effort of the American mob and the Russian mob to defraud the government of billions of dollars in revenue. And how does this all fit together? Well, we have this character, a real person that Frank spent a lot of time with, Daniel Patterson, real character.
Mm-hmm.
And he becomes friends with mikeitaev, and together they put together that fake, we're going to order a bunch of gold for the space shuttle scam. You go to the seedy apartment with a post-it note on the door that says nuclear reactor on the door. But how do we get into this? How do we tell people, okay, we're going to tell people about Daniel Patterson? We can't just dump this story in here because it seems to have absolutely nothing to do with the murder of this guy in West Hollywood. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, we're back years ago. We got the Ku Klux Klan. We got union organizing. We have Robert Vesco tied in with Richard Nixon, the committee to reelect the president. What the hell does this have to do? So we have to tell people ahead of time, we're going to tell you a story. There's a reason for it. I tried one way of saying it. He had a better way of saying it, and he came up with doing the butterfly effect. You can have the butterfly flap its wings in Brazil, and it makes a tsunami somewhere else. And in this story, the butterfly is Daniel Patterson. And because he becomes friends with mikeitaev, it has a major effect on the lives of these kids and the guy who lived on Sierra Bonita. And it did. So we warn people ahead of time, it's going to be a bumpy ride, put on your seatbelt.
It is a bumpy ride, but what I find interesting too, without giving away too much about the book, is it safe to say that the subject of duality in a person's personality comes up in this book as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think you see it in everybody in this book. You see you admire, you see the gentle sort of patrician who, runs children's centers. In Jimmy, you see the naive kid who comes to Hollywood with, big dreams and ends up, being involved in a murder case. And in Daniel Patterson, you see this grandfather, loving grandfather, who has who's a sweet family and a nice dog, who's also, been a union enforcer, a gold scammer, and a fraud artist. But Daniel, and we talk about this in the book, drew the line himself, drew the line at murder, when murder was suggested as one way that he and Mike could absolve themselves of other crimes. He drew the line. So the duality and the gray areas of all these different characters, I want to say they become a soup, but it's not a soup with a bunch of flavors that don't fit. It's a soup with a lot of flavors that when you take a sip out of it, you go, I want more of this. And when you get to the bottom of that bowl of soup, you go, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. The thing of ow. But at a certain point reading the book, you go, oh my God, all of this insanity, all of these scams, this different stuff, all converges together. It all is connected. And that is the amazing thing of people's lives and their trajectories, how they intersect and what becomes of them. It's fascinating.
Both of you bring up something that maybe shocked me a little bit in this book, and that is you bring up the integrity of the informant in a criminal investigation, and you bring it up.
Trust him.
What's that? You don't. You can't trust him.
Can't trust him.
Expound on that, Burl. Tell me a little bit about it. And tell me why.
Don't confuse a confidential informant with a whistleblower.
Okay.
Two entirely different things.
Okay.
A whistleblower sees something bad and, hey, that's not right. The confidential informant quite often instigates the bad behavior, participates in the bad behavior. And we asked the world's leading expert on this topic, attorney from San Francisco, named Tony Serra, a very famous attorney. And I asked him point blank, Tony, it is against the law to pay a witness. You can't have a paid testimony by someone in a trial. What's the difference between a paid witness and a confidential informant. And he said, absolutely nothing. One's doing it for money, but the confidential informant's getting paid usually in reduced sentences for looking the other way while they do criminal acts. And quite often, they are the agent provocateur. They set up the crime, they make it happen, and then they step back, inform on everybody else. Other people go to prison and they walk free. Says you can't trust them. And the really scary thing, she says now there are more classifications for confidential informants than ever before. They are used in every type of crime. And he says they tend to be pejorious. They're not public servants. They're not looking to be helpful. They're looking out for themselves. And so quite often what they're informing on really can't be trusted. And to rely on them is dangerous.
Let me and you see court cases where the value of information is questioned in this way. I mean, there's plenty of instances where jailhouse snitches bring testimony into trial that is either tainted or perjury or designed to do something to benefit the informant and not necessarily the prosecution. It's a bad business to be in, and yet I think if you look at law enforcement, we think about these great movies like Serpico, right? Serpico was a cop who went undercover, or Donnie Brasco, a cop that went undercover. We don't get these stories anymore because cops don't do these kinds of dangerous activities. They pay people who are involved in crime to give them information on the crimes that can be turned into prosecution down the road. That's done especially in instances where wiretaps are difficult to get, and other sorts of digital information is not easily or readily forthcoming.
But isn't the argument there, Frank, that it's easier for someone who's authentic on the inside to get that information easier, and that it's easier to smell a cop coming from a mile away?
Yeah, well, yeah, superficially for sure. But why is that person giving you the information? What do they have to gain from giving you that information? It typically they're doing it because it's a quid pro quo, where they're either allowed to continue with their criminal activity at the expense of someone else's criminal activity, or, as in this case, they're essentially horse trading. I'll give you this if you give me that. And I don't think anyone would define that as being just.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough.
I'll mention one. If I could just tell you a personal story here.
Sure.
My daughter had a guy that was hitting on her. Says, no, I've got a boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. She and her boyfriend happened to be sleeping in their motorhome, truck, trailer sort of thing, when this guy with a crowbar comes, smashes through the window. He's decided in his altered state to kill or rape or whatever my daughter. He crashes with a crowbar, smashes out the window, and attacks her. Boyfriend, however, wakes up, and he's a pretty strong, muscular guy, and he jumps in and, saves her, chases the guy away. They, of course, call the cops. There's been severe damage. She's got missing teeth, blah, blah, blah. And they say, who was it? She says who it was. They go, oh, no, we can't do anything.
Why?
What? Well, he's one of our main confidential informants. We rely on him for telling us about all the criminal activity that goes on around here. And so we can't bust him.
What?
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, that kind of stuff happens more frequently than you think.
What's really scary and what Tony says is it happens more and more and more. How many cases have gone where they will not reveal the name of the confidential informant? It was agreed in this case, Jimmy's case, he wanted the entrapment defense. which made perfect sense because you look at the requirements for the entrapment defense, it checked all the boxes. His attorney refuses. Why? Because the prosecution had already gone to the DEA and the defense attorney, and he went before the judge and says, the DEA doesn't want the name of this guy revealed as being an informant. So we need that suppressed. So it can't be mentioned at trial. That's the single most important piece of information. Without that information, the kid can't get a fair trial. But they had a trial anyway, with no mention of him setting this thing up,
of
why
his
he set it
role,
up,
of
any of it.
Mikeitaev's role as an informant for the DEA and the FBI, and how his role as an informant led to his uncle being released from custody, and probably ultimately led to his acquittal.
So without the informant system, what is the next best thing then? How do you go about getting these prosecutions done?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I mean, to me, I think you gotta, obviously dot your I's and cross your T's, right? And do investigations the way that you should be doing them. Yeah, I think informants play a role. You can't eliminate informants, but I don't think you can use information to trade for leniency. And I think that's where the informant system falls apart. It falls apart when there's a quid pro quo that gives the informant incentive above and beyond what he might otherwise, or she might otherwise receive.
Yeah, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, the
No.
confidence and for not because I'm a public, spirited, public service spirited individual. It's okay. Here's Joe Blow's going to rob the gas station, or who did this to who.
Yeah,
a lot of times,
it's intelligence.
yeah, low-level sex workers, street hookers are often confidence informants to keep from getting busted.
Yep, rolled up. Yeah, that is a lot. I've seen that. I've been on, many a ride along with detectives who, bragged about the prostitutes that they had on the payroll as informants. And by the way, I mean, I think that is probably the way the informant system works, right? You get a wad of cash as a detective or a street officer, and you distribute it to people that need it, sort of like bubbles in the wire. And that, I think that works, right? But when your informant is, a high level operative in a criminal organization, and it's not a cash transaction anymore. It's a far more complicated deal that imperils justice. Then I think that's when we have to re-examine what exactly it is that governs this system of law enforcement.
Did you ever see the TV show The Blacklist? Raymond Reddington?
Yeah, yep.
You notice that he was the confidence informant for the FBI, and every blacklister he set up, who benefited? He did. Every single one. He was the beneficiary of the FBI busting that person. He benefited.
Yeah.
It wasn't because it was always his benefit.
Yeah.
He was brilliant, but and even Robert Vesco was in that show, which I thought was fascinating, being as Vesco is a real person, and he shows up in our book.
Yeah, you're right. As we're getting down to the last couple of minutes of our time together, guys, I wanted to bring up too in the book. You even go so far as to talk towards the end of the book about we get into judges a little bit as well, and we get a little bit into one particular judge too, as far as a little bit of turnabout is fair play, and we talk a little bit about one judge who. I won't get into names, but talking about again, we're talking duality themes. We're talking about how he gets a little rough on one decision, but then has that decision turned back on him in his dealings. And then he sort of, you know where I'm going with the story here. As far as this particular judge, maybe you want to do a little bit more better describing than I'm doing as far as the story goes. But
well, you're dealing with celebrity justice. Frank has seen this up close and personal many years here.
Well,
You
I
ever in
mean,
his courtroom?
I've been in his courtroom many times. I mean, in this case, um, the judge had his own sort of proclivities, and his own. To me, I think the thing that stands out with the judge that we talk a little bit about in the story is the fact that he forgets who he is and thinks that he's something more than he is. And at the same time, when he encounters a particular celebrity in his court, he's willing to throw the book at her without any sort of compassion or heart, but wants compassion when it comes to his own problems. And and that's that duality, right? I mean, when you're up there on the bench and you've got the robes on, and in that little space, you're the king, not even the prince, you're the king. I think that for some people it rubs off into their personal life in a bad way, and it certainly did with this judge.
Yeah, interesting story at the very tail end of the book. And then we were talking before the show that there's the thing that shook me maybe even the most at the end of the book was just the appendix going down the list of the Russian gangsters and how each one of these Russian gangsters was getting it at the end. And to be a Russian gangster in Brighton Beach, I think was probably what's a good way of putting this, guys? It was probably a short-lived
career path.
I mean, it's a
right?
tough line of work to get into.
Right.
Yeah,
you probably put it on your resume. It wasn't on there for long, right?
No. Burl, I remember Burl looking at that the first time and telling me it reminded him of the passage in Ecclesiastes or some part of the Old Testament where, David beget Shem and Shem beget Solomon and Solomon, beget Mo and and you go through it and you go, yeah, I can see that in here. But it also, I think, appropriately provides a little bit of the milieu in which, these glasnost gangsters operated in when they first came here. And what a ruthless and unrewarding career path it could be.
But as I'm reading down that list, I remember though watching, and I know you guys remember watching it too. Remember watching some of those headlines on national news, and I remember this epidemic. It was an epidemic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, and it was an absolute epidemic in Brighton Beach at the time of the late '80s and early '90s, and it spawned. It's not just like a crime wave, but it spawned a mini wave of movies as well that sort of tried to tap into it. And it's and it spawned envy from the Italian mobsters and created a different sort of class of gangsters that weren't necessarily dealing in turf wars and wars over honor, but were actually like looking at ways in which they could make money that were based on some of the methods that they learned in the old world. But early on, getting to the position where you could be the guy at the bottom of the funnel required a lot of murders to have taken place.
So I'm going to ask both of you. I want to start with you, Frank. Do you believe when you measure them up, Italian gangster versus these glasnost gangsters, character-wise, okay, I just want to talk character. Who's more ruthless, and who's got the more gentler side?
Well, I mean, my opinion is probably thoroughly infected by movies by my own background. But obviously, I'm probably more partial to the Italian gangsters because The Godfather shows you that family's first, right? With these guys, and they have some pretty good pasta recipes.
Yeah,
that's right. That's most important.
Yeah, and I mean, family obviously plays a role in the Russian mob, but I think they're far more, at least at that time, in at that time that we chronicle, from the mid 80s to the early 90s, the Russians were far more ruthless and far more willing to do whatever it took to establish their primacy, especially over anybody else trying to get a hold of their turf.
And yet, our Russian mob participant, Stan, who, as he says, yes, you'll find a higher body count, maybe the murder for hire Russian mob guys, but where the money is was not in anything violent. The money was in the gas tax scams, smuggling chocolate, smuggling tobacco,
Yeah,
cars. That's where the money is. And if you want to make the money, it's not with anybody getting, occasionally someone gets hurt, but mostly it's not. You don't want that violence. That only causes problems. So I said that's why people insist the Russian mob gets a bad rap because of the infighting of the Meyer against Monya Ellison. You know, people mad at it. Somebody thought I didn't get a cut.
right.
Uh,
The David
but
beget Shem
overall,
era.
he says it's a mischaracterization overall of the Russian mob because the real money makers aren't violent at all.
Which I think we show here.
Well,
Right.
Too, Burl, you don't necessarily have to be violent to be ruthless. I mean, we're talking just basic loyalty, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, you've had probably a Daniel, what's his name, G. Devato on, escaping the mob from several years ago. He says it's all BS. He says, "Oh, we got your back. We got your back."
mhm,
He says they don't.
right.
They don't have you.
But when you're in, they have your loyalty.
Yeah.
I would say that, I think from what we have written about, loyalty is a transient property. But certainly the Italians, preach a lot about loyalty, especially from the bottom up. And I don't know that we encountered that necessarily as we wrote about the Russian mobsters.
Well, I had Tom I had Pee Wee from the Hells Angels, and he wrote a self-published book called Brotherhood, the biggest lie ever sold. Because he was always told, "Hey, the Brotherhood." Because some people don't even know what that means,
Yeah.
And he was very disheartened that when he had some trouble, where was the Brotherhood? With so much hot air, and so he left, quit, walked away from that. He drove away. You know.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, bro. I mean, and Pee Wee, I got to agree with him too. It's like you said, Frank. It's very transient. It's I want your loyalty now to me, and to the leader of this group, and to the leader of whatever this group is, and
Leader of the pack.
yeah, and to whatever the credo and whatever the rules of this group are. But then later on, when you need me, well, don't
Yeah.
don't
come knocking.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you're right. It's very transient. It seems like it's a one-way street. All right.
Yep.
Well, I think with that, we're pretty much at our end. But folks, I tell you, I want you to go out and get this book because it is a phenomenal book. Where Murders Lie, Death and Deception in West Hollywood. Before we leave, folks, Frank, do you have any last thoughts for people?
Please, if you read the book, give us a good review because I know you'll like it. You can follow both Burl and I on social media. I've got a Substack. It's a True Crime Area 51. Come and find me. And happy to carry on the conversation with any of your listeners if they want to DM or however they want to reach out.
Okay. And Burl, any last thoughts?
Oh yeah, well, I'll tell you, when I go on X nowadays, I see all the anti-Semitism, etc. I'm not ready to unplug all my social media. I'm getting so disheartened by the. I mean, I'm a journalist first,
Yeah.
and so is Frank. And there's a certain thing that's very important that Jack Olson, who was a great true crime author, was very important to him, and that's journalistic integrity.
Mhm.
And that was always drummed into me when I first became a journalist, and it still sticks with me to this day, is the integrity of the investigation, integrity of what you're going to say in print. And you can have a lot of fun along the way. And what did someone say? Journalistic integrity and Rapier Wit took that as a good compliment because they put journalistic integrity first. And
Yes.
Absolutely.
that's the important thing.
You're absolutely right, my friend. Where Murder Lies, Death and Deception in West Hollywood is the book. Burl Barer and Frank Girardot Jr. are my guests. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thanks
Really
so much.
appreciate it. Your great show, Tim.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Folks, let's lighten things up a little bit. It's time now to bring in Jessica Freeberg. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It is a Tuesday, and it is that time that you've been waiting for, the one that everybody waits for at the end of True Crime Tuesday. It is the dessert on top of our main course. It's that time again, the time you've all been waiting for. It's time for Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. And with that, I need a co-hostess. So I reach across town with this short little stubby arm I have. Yes, I've been cursed by genetics. And I reach out to my co-hostess. Yes, she's affable. She's lovable. She's incredibly intelligent. She's written not one, not two, not three, not four, but 57 books last year. There's a man named Binder over at the Hindustan Times who has said, yes, sir, I need health care over here at the Hindustan Times. They don't offer it. She's broken my back, sir. From all the charts that she's busted over here. She's number one on all these charts over here at the Hindustan Times. I don't know about over there in America, but she's destroyed us over here at the Hindustan Times. And I said, oh, you watch, Binder, you watch, because in 2026, she will be the eater of worlds, destroyer of charts. And she will kill every chart that the Hindustan Times has, literary and otherwise. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, fresh from her trip to the Palmer House Hotel. It's Jessica Freeberg. Hi, Jess.
Hey, yeah, I have a little bit of a ghost hunting hangover. I'm getting too old for these late nights. I'm so tired. We had fun.
That's good. That's good.
I have to give a little shout out to our friend Eric, who I know listens to the show. He came to the event and we had a blast. He came to my last event, our last event too.
Yeah.
In Stillwater. And I don't know, we're having so much fun. So I had to give a shout out to Eric. So
Well, there you go.
hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric. I'll say hey to Eric too. Hi, Eric. See? I give him one of these.
He's waving at you, Eric, if you're watching.
You're watching video. It's very interesting. So, there you go.
Oh, we had a good time. Lots of art. Oh, do you know what? I took my guitar this time, and I had one of the guys in my group, Scott, bring his banjo, and I told him, I'm like, you get that Country Roads Bring Me Home song ready, that John Denver little number. We're gonna play that together. So we did, and I would say we were not wonderful, but we sounded all right.
Did he know Sweet City Woman, by the way? I had asked you offline if he knew Sweet City Woman.
I don't think he does, but he can learn it. We'll learn it for you, Tim.
Okay, good. All right. Because the next time I want him to play Sweet City Woman. That's and you guys are like, oh, what? It's such an old song. Yeah.
The oldies are the goodies, though. We know that.
Yeah. Either that or he needs to play Rainbow Connection and he needs to sing as Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, totally.
Does he know that one?
I don't think he knows it on the banjo, but I'm Scott. I know you're listening. Learn Rainbow Connection.
And I want to hear it in Kermit's voice, Scott. That's
exactly.
Yeah. I want to.
We also karaoke, Tim. I had no idea we were also musical. Like we sang until that machine ran out of juice, like it died.
What were you running on a 9 volt, or is it?
It was one that had to be charged. I don't understand why I couldn't then
Was it
stick
a
it in the
crank?
wall and let it work. And we were so disappointed. We're like, we're still singing.
Was it one from a pawn shop with a crank? What? What?
No,
How?
it was from Amazon. It was brand freaking new.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of knew this, but I didn't remember that one of the guys in my group, Sean Spinks, he used to be the lead singer of a band. So he got up there and he was like, oh my dang, Sean, I had no idea you were so good.
Damn. Huh.
Yeah, it was super fun.
If you had to describe Sean's voice, are we talking angelic? Are we talking heavy metal 80s?
Oh, it's more like the
Sort of like a
80s,
rooster.
grungy. Yeah,
Okay.
like deep in your chest.
Like, grrr, like that type.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, just kind of. He was good. He was good.
Mm.
So I guess we're adding music to our creative events now because we had
okay.
so much fun. We're like, everyone bring your guitars next time.
Yeah, I'm out. I won't see you up there anymore. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. Bring. Yeah, now you've become like Antonio Banderas in Desperado. You're like, bring your guitars.
Bring your guitars.
Bring your guitars. Tell puppy bring his guitar. So yeah. Except for if you get the wrong type of people there will be guns in the guitars, and then it's a shootout at the OK Corral.
True. We don't need that.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, we got a bunch of dumb crime, stupid criminals today. By the way, Lewd Newton Crude is back this week. So evidently,
good.
They're done with the holiday break, and now Florida Man is back to being Lewd Newton Crude. So
I like me a naked Florida man.
Not just Florida Man. It's all over the U.S. now. It's people have lost their minds, Jess. They've lost their minds.
Ooh, it's true. It's true.
Before we get to the debauchery, as it were, I on Thursdays I remind people to be a light in someone's darkness, to do something for an elderly or disabled person in your community or in your family over the weekend. Our good friend Bijou out there in Las Vegas, by the way, I believe is it the Golden Kettle restaurant she works at? Go visit her, by the way, when you're out in Vegas and say hi to her. Visit her establishment, say hi to her. Tip well, please, when you're out there as well. She sent a story along, which I figured I'd read real quick before we jump into Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, which is kind of an interesting story and also kind of tells us why we should kind of keep our eyes out for the elderly, right?
Mm-hmm.
This headline is Call the Police. An 81-year-old left a note in a mailbox for a postal worker leading to a caregiver's arrest. And yes, it is a Florida story. So we're starting off in Florida. Yeah. An 81-year-old man in Florida left a note for his mail carrier that he said saved him from elder abuse. The note was short, but the message was urgent. It read, "Call the police." The victim, whose name was not given, said he suffered abuse at the hands of his living caregiver, Denise Williams, not the singer from the 80s who did R&B, but same name. Every month, every day, she got a little bit worse, he said. Things came to a head last week when the 81-year-old man said Williams began yelling at him over the state of his bathroom. He tried giving 911 a call, but she stopped him by violently squeezing his hand until he couldn't stand the pain.
That's so terrible.
Yeah. She jumped on my chest. I was lying down trying to get to my phone, and she jumped on my chest and started grabbing it, my phone, that is. And she finally got it and scratched me, he said. Williams made sure the victim couldn't call for help, he went on to say. Then she grabbed my phone, the two house phones, the landline phones, and my car keys, dumped them in her room, and locked the door. So she wouldn't.
He was trapped in his own home.
Yeah, couldn't get out and couldn't get word out. The man said he had to think of another way to ask for help. So I wrote the little note and put it in my mailbox, he said. A postal worker saw the note and called police. The victim said he is forever grateful. Police said they found Williams at a nearby gas station with the victim's debit card and checkbook. So she was spending away.
Yikes.
Yeah.
What a bad person.
Yeah. She's now being held at the Palm Beach County Jail on multiple charges, including robbery and battery on an elderly victim. So again, folks, it's important. It's important to keep your eyes and ears open and make sure that we're looking out for our elderly citizens. So
Yeah, we got to look out for each other.
that's right. That's right. All right, let's jump into it, shall we? Another one, by the way, from our friend Bijou, a U.S. Postal Service, the bad side of the U.S. Postal Service, I guess.
A flip of the coin.
Flip of the coin. Just a turn of the worm, right? U.S. Postal Service driver is accused of trying to run over a 10-year-old boy.
What the heck?
Don't get too close to your mailboxes, folks, when they're doing their job. That's all I got to say. Yeah. No, it has nothing to do with that. I'm projecting here, Jeff. By the way, here in Minnesota, you really do need to kind of shovel around your mailboxes.
Oh yeah.
Because they won't deliver mail anymore. I found that out. It's not the old slogan like it used to be. It's not, neither sleet nor snow nor rain nor even fog. It's little old me underdog or whatever it used to be that kept them from delivering the mail. Now it's now it's a little drizzle and we won't deliver your shit, I think is what it is.
Well, if you have any snow around your mailbox, you're not getting your mail. Do you have like an individual mailbox? We have like the community one. So there's multiple of these. Now this is all they put up. They don't, in newer developments, you never get your own mailbox anymore. And I felt like the oldest woman in the world because I was out there shoveling. This was probably last year. I haven't had to do it this year, but it was so snowed in and nobody was doing anything about it. So I'm out there shoveling and chipping away at it. And I'm looking around and I'm like, I'm the oldest person who lives in this neighborhood. Why am I out here, this old lady? These young whippersnappers out here with their shovels helping me.
Right. Yeah, you feel like you're the lone person on the island. Yeah, I took a snowblower out to we have blocks of mailboxes. So you have your mailbox along with 3 others. So
okay.
I took the snowblower out probably about a week ago and tried to. There's like an island like about 3 feet high, like around the mailboxes, and we each got a little note in our mailbox saying, "You need to blow this out, or you're never getting mail again, at least until the spring," or whatever it is, whatever the threatening note is. So took the snowblower out there, and then it had become a firm mountain of ice. I think an iceberg had formed around the mailbox. So then I took hiking gear out there and a pickaxe and tried to break down the mountain. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was when I was out there. I was chipping away at it and swearing the whole time.
Yeah, I did a lot of that too. Yeah. Yeah. And probably a truck of salt I think I took out there too. And
yeah. It's better just to do it when it's fresh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do that too, but then it also, you get the plows that come by and then
the darn plows. Yeah.
And then they heap all that slurry up on top of it and it freezes and
we don't stand a chance, Tim. Why do we live here?
I don't know, because of the people.
Yeah, that's it. The people.
So. Yeah. And the sports teams, we like frustration. There's that. Yeah.
We like to have our hearts ripped out of our chests and stomped on.
That's right. Because what's life?
Given Sunday.
Yeah. What's life if not pain, right? That's kind of, it reminds you you're alive. Yeah. Oh, this next story. We go to Escambia, Florida, where a U.S. Postal Service driver was arrested after he allegedly tried to run over a 10-year-old with his vehicle. Because he wasn't shoveling either in Florida, evidently. He wasn't keeping the Postal Service driver safe from gators.
He was doing something naughty, apparently.
Yeah. Florida Highway Patrol said troopers responded to Sacred Heart on December 27th in reference to a child being struck by a vehicle on Kingfisher Way in Kingfisher Court. Investigators said they learned that William White, not the guy who's in the TV show, but a U.S. Postal Service driver, had dropped a package off at the wrong home. The child, whose family owns the residence, realized it was the wrong address and recovered the package, placing it on his scooter to take it to the correct address. Officials said White thought the child was stealing the package and drove his U.S. Postal Service vehicle towards the child, running over his scooter.
No, that's not how you solve that problem.
Right. Yeah. Problem-solving skills not the greatest with this guy. Yeah.
His heart was in the right place. He thought he was stopping a thief, but you don't run over a kid.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The child was able to get away in a nearby yard before the scooter was struck. Jeez.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah. White then grabbed the scooter and placed it in his vehicle before tossing it in a nearby yard after a family member of the child went to confront him, because that as well, not a good solution. I don't want to be caught with stolen goods. Whew. Here it goes into another yard. Not again, second bad decision that White made that day. Officials said White was interviewed and arrested on Wednesday, December 31st, after he returned to work. Jail records show White is charged with aggravated assault, criminal mischief, and petty theft.
Oh my goodness. And you know what's funny? He thought he was being a hero.
You know what would have been easier, Jess? I mean, honestly, just drive up beside the kid and go, "Hey, what are you doing with that package?" And if the kid, "I'm taking it to the right house," just go, "Hey, I'll take it to the right house." Problem solved.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, if you're watching the video, I think the part where you pretended to be on a scooter is my favorite part of the whole show.
"I'm taking it to the right house, mister." Yeah.
Yeah, right? That's the logical, like, rational way to handle it as a grown-up.
Right.
But
who needs to be rational when you live in Florida?
I mean, what would we talk about if they were?
I mean, the only thing more irrational would have been if he would have reached under the seat, grabbed his 9mm and shot the kid. That would have been a little more irrational.
Oh, Lord.
And that would have been more Floridian. But, speaking of, Jess, that's a good segue to our next story.
Oh, good. I can't wait.
As we stay in Florida, a Cape Coral father is arrested after the school finds a loaded handgun in his 5-year-old child's backpack. Because when we start our kids out in Florida with gun safety, you want to start with the 5-year-olds first.
Oh, my.
It's a little known fact that a 5-year-old shoots a 9mm very well, especially at target practice right after recess.
Especially if he's had his nap first.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're
in his little pudding cup.
They're very good at sighting in if their blood sugar is level and they've had a minimal amount of rest. Their little hands are very steady then. And
Yeah.
The Cape Coral Police Department has arrested a man accused of child negligence after his 5-year-old child was found carrying a loaded handgun inside their backpack at is it Trafalgar Elementary School? I don't know. I don't go there. Police arrested 50-year-old James Edward Winston on Thursday after the school's screening system, OpenGate, alerted the staff and prompted law enforcement to search the student's backpack, where law enforcement found the firearm. Authorities said the student was isolated when the firearm was discovered. I bet he was. According to the Cape Coral Police Department, the student was unaware of the 9mm handgun inside their backpack, or at least they claim to be. Oh, I don't know who put it there. Whoops.
Where did that come from?
Daddy said it's made of licorice. That's what I'm supposed to tell you. Investigators found that the student was unaware of the gun's presence, leading them to question the parents. Wilson, the child's father, admitted to placing the weapon in the backpack, but forgot to remove it.
Why?
Yeah, I let my kid hold on to all of my stolen work. Why would you put a gun in your kid's backpack?
A loaded gun. Just insane.
Aaliyah Robinson, a family member of a student at Trafalgar, expressed her concern. "I was very scared," said Robinson. "I was just very scared for them, my precious little babies," said Robinson. Robinson took her sisters home early from school on Thursday. "It's very sad. I hope it doesn't happen again." I hope it doesn't happen again either. Maybe you should pull that kid from school and keep him home to become a proper little criminal.
Oh, my. Get him out of that house.
I guess, right? An elementary school child in the car shared their feelings on guns. It's just scary hearing the noise of it shooting, and I'm sad that people die from it, said the child. Well, you're glad. Just be glad the kid didn't take the gun out. Right? I shouldn't joke about it, but Jesus, I mean, how do you forget a gun in your kid's backpack?
Or how do you put it there in the first place? Like, think of a better place to store it or hide it or whatever.
I know what he's doing. It's probably stolen, and he probably put it there
Right.
that nobody would go looking for it. Right?
Yeah, I guess.
Parents received a text message from the school district after the incident. Students were always safe. School staff and our law enforcement partners acted quick. How were they always safe? There's a gun in a backpack.
In the control of a 5-year-old.
Right. What was the 5-year-old going to make sure the safety was on and that the ammo was separate from the gun? What?
It couldn't be less safe. Like, this is so dangerous.
School staff and our law enforcement partners acted quickly to isolate the student and ensure the school remained secure. Did they also take the 5-year-old away in cuffs? Police explained the sequence of events at a press conference on Thursday afternoon. They immediately found an alert to a potential weapon or gun in his backpack. They opened it up, saw the gun in there, and they launched an investigation. They also wanted to know where the sugar cookies came from as well. The Lee County the Lee County School District, sugar cookies are on my mind now.
I'm hungry.
I know, me too. Emphasized the effectiveness of their security measures. We're the only district that has them in every location in every school, said David Newland, chief of safety and security, who's been known to pat down many 5-year-olds. Since implementing the open gate weapons detection system in the 2023-24 school year, the district has seen a 27% decrease in on-campus incidents. How many incidents do you have with 5-year-olds? That's what I want to know.
Hopefully 0.
Right. Despite this, the discovery of a gun on campus has alarmed families. Oh my God, why is a handgun in the student's backpack? Yeah, that is crazy. That is so unsafe, said Robinson. Wilson now faces charges of child neglect, a felony, and improper storage of a firearm, a misdemeanor. Robinson shared her ongoing concern for the children's safety. Police have not disclosed whether the 5-year-old is in the care of another family, which they probably should be.
Yeah.
However, the Florida Department of Children and Families has been notified. Maybe they'll get around to it sometime, next year, as to handling this case. You know, they're a little slow there, Jess, just a little bit. I believe we're staying in Florida for this story. I think we're going to spend a lot of time in Florida today. I think it's, but this one's kind of a fun story. Ready for this?
Yeah.
A Gillette man nicknamed Crack Pipe is accused in another burglary.
Oh, Crack Pipe. Here we go again.
Crack Pipe. You've done it again. Gillette police say they caught a man who goes by the alias of Crack Pipe stealing a bagel shop baker's purse to buy lockpicks with her credit card. Well, at least he's industrious.
Yeah.
Can you write that up? You write that off on your taxes?
Hey, you could try. I mean,
yeah. It's tools of the industry. It comes nearly a year after he allegedly burgled a Menards store. You save big money there, Jess. I don't know if you know that.
Especially when you don't pay for it.
Yeah, right. Well, and here's the trick though. They say you save big money at Menards, but never ever have they gone past 11% off at a Menards store. No, never. But 11%, that's huge savings at Menards.
That's pretty good. But you do have to remember to send in your receipt or you don't even get the 11% off, right?
That's right. That's
tricky.
That's how they get you. By the way, Crack Pipe is facing felony charges. I don't know of any misdemeanor Crack Pipe charges, but a 50-year-old Gillette.
I'd have more respect for him if he legally changed his name to Crack Pipe, honestly.
I would too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go all the way with that thing. Yeah.
Why not?
That's right. That's right. And you know what? If his middle name was changed to Foil.
Ooh, yes.
Like that, yeah. Crack Pipe.
Yeah, I'm sure I told you this before. My husband worked in logistics and he had one of his truck drivers right out of college legally changed his name to Diesel Truck. It's not weird.
There's a man who's going places. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
yeah.
he's on the right career path. He's real passionate about it.
See what I did there? Diesel truck. He's going places. 50-year-old Gillette man whose court file says he goes by the alias Crack Pipe faces a felony burglary charge on claims that he stole a baker's purse from the back room of a bagel shop to use her credit card at a store that sells lockpick tools. Colby Cole Thomas, which is the perfect country music singer's name if he came from 1970.
So good.
Colby Cole Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. And I took your purse so I could buy lockpick tools. I took your purse to buy lockpick tools. By the way, would I have done good at karaoke?
Oh, man. You would have shined.
Thank you. I appreciate it. His case rose to the felony level at Campbell County District Court on Wednesday after he was charged about a week prior. Thomas is, meanwhile, facing another burglary charge that reached the felony court last April on claims that he broke into the local Menards store. Maybe to get more lockpick tools. It's a vicious cycle. Gillette Police Department officer Chance Quarterman, totally made up name from a romance.
Such a soap opera name.
It is, right? My name is Chance Quarterman, Police Department officer from Gillette.
And here the criminal's like, yo, I'm Crack Pipe. What up?
I'm Crack Pipe. Does this seem like a made up story to you?
Yeah.
And he stole a credit card to get lockpick tools.
It can't be real, but it is.
Is this out of The Onion? I don't know. Chance Quarterman responded about 12:28 p.m. on December 3rd to the Maine Bagel Company. It has to be out of The Onion. To a theft report, according to an evidentiary affidavit filed in the case. There he spoke with a woman who said she arrived at work at 6 a.m. that day and put her purse on a shelf in the back of the shop. It contained 2 credit cards, her social security card, $40 in cash, keys to her Ford Bronco, and keys to her home, according to Quarterman. 6 minutes before noon, the woman received a phone notification saying 2 of her credit cards have been charged. One $250 charge at Walmart was unsuccessful. Another $145 and $95 charge to Covert Instruments was successful. The woman checked the back room and realized that her purse was gone right away. Quarterman confirmed that the shop owner had the back door left unlocked, and anyone reaching the back room, and anyone reaching that back room via the front would have come into the view of the staff, he wrote. It was this observation that he linked to the state law's definition of felony burglary, which describes an unauthorized entry into a place with the intent to commit a theft or a felony inside it. I'm glad we got the legal definition. Quarterman spoke with the owner of Covert Instruments, who offered to help any way he could, providing a screenshot of the purchase order. According to Quarterman's account, the order showed the name Colby Thomas. So the guy used his real name when he bought the tools.
Oh, man. He is not smart.
I mean, he could have at least signed a Crack Pipe. I mean,
Yeah, CP even, you know.
CP, right. Here's the fun part. Are you ready for this, Jess? A shipping address combined the address of a home where Thomas was reportedly staying and the name of a woman with whom the credit card belongs. The person placing the order gave his email address, tylersucks@gmail.com.
Love it.
And
I was going to use that one.
For you? The E in Tyler is a 3 and sucks is a 5. So it's SUCK 5 for the S.
Clever.
Yeah, he's a clever criminal, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. The company sells lockpicking tools and other tools intended for the use of law enforcement, military, and civilian use, wrote Quarterman. The tools could also be used for breaking and entering a structure or vehicle. The case, by the way, is ongoing. There's another case under Thomas's name and also outlining the alias Crack Pipe. It lists 1 count of felony burglary and another of possessing burglar tools, the latter punishable of up to 3 years in prison and up to $3,000 in fine. This case shows a $25,000 cash or surety bond. So Crack Pipe is facing some heavy, heavy fines and jail time.
Pipe's in trouble.
Crack pipe's in trouble. That's right. You could say he's burning the crack at both ends. I don't know what that means. It's horrible.
It works.
I guess it works. I don't know. Anyways, our next story, again, involves another Florida man in more Florida trouble. This man robbed the Summerfield Dollar General days after his release from jail, according to deputies. We're going to Marion County, Florida, where a Central Florida man who just got out of jail for armed robbery is back behind bars. Dexter Jackson was recently released from prison for armed robbery in Marion County. Deputies said he was just arrested for the second time in 15 days. Jackson was released from prison on armed robbery charges in November. Just weeks later, he was involved in a chase with law enforcement in December. On December 22nd of 2025, Jackson was captured after fleeing from deputies during a pursuit. During the chase, a deputy went off-road to catch him. Deputies said Jackson swerved through trees before being tackled and apprehended. Authorities reported that Jackson stole from a Dollar General in Summerfield 15 days after he had posted bond in his December arrest. Dollar General to actually from the jail to Dollar General back to the jail again. It sounds like a fun field trip.
Full circle.
Full circle. It's it's a wonderful life for him, I guess. Right. I'm going to show you a picture of a beautiful couple here, Jess. There they are, right there.
Okay.
See them through the.
Oh yeah, they're a cute couple.
They're a cute.
They
couple.
look normal. What did they do?
I was going to say, aren't they a beautiful couple?
They look too normal. Something's very wrong.
I was going to say, you're not even going to let me set this up, huh? I was going to say, what do you think they do for a living? Would you say they're on TV?
They do look like they could be a reality TV couple.
Yeah.
Like on one of those dating shows or something.
Do you think maybe they might build homes on TV for a living?
Oh gosh, they totally could. They look like that couple that got divorced.
Like Chip and Joanna Gaines?
Yeah. No, I was thinking the Alfusas or I can't think of their names. Christina and Park.
Yeah.
Do you know that one?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this couple pitched themselves as Chip and Joanna Gaines and pled guilty to a $5 million home building scheme.
They don't look like Chip and Joanna Gaines.
No, they don't at all. No.
They should have done Christina and Tart.
They should have. Yes, they really should have. They picked the wrong couple. Christopher and Raquel Judge admitted to defrauding more than 40 homeowners with prosecutors. Yeah. 40 people fell for that little Gaines deal.
Wow. Well, they obviously weren't meeting them in person.
No. They say client funds were spent in personal expenses, including plastic surgery. Ooh, wow. Wait a minute. Let's blow her picture up for a second.
What all did she have done?
I don't know. Can you tell?
I mean, she's very pretty, so kudos to the doctor.
Does it look like she's had some stuff done?
I mean, I bet what she's had done is like below the shoulders.
Below the shoulder.
Don't you think?
You think she's had a set of tatas done?
Yeah, probably.
Let's see. Texas couple who federal prosecutors say defrauded dozens of homeowners out of nearly $5 million by promising custom homes and renovations they never finished have pleaded guilty to wire fraud conspiracy charges. Christopher Judge and his wife Raquel Judge, both of Fort Worth, admitted in federal court that from August of 2020 to January of 2023, they conspired to deceive customers through their company, Judge DFW, or Dallas Fort Worth, LLC. That, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Texas. Prosecutors said the couple collected millions in installment payments for custom architecture, construction, and interior design services, often offering below market bids before abandoning projects, in some cases leaving families without livable homes. They started construction projects and accepted multiple installment payments from victims, but never completed those projects, often leaving victims without a completed residence, said the U.S. Attorney's Office. Plea documents viewed by People magazine note more than 40 victims across 6 North Texas counties were affected, spanning at least 24 construction projects with losses totaling approximately $4.8 million. One couple, documents show, paid the judges almost $364,000 That's a nice scheme if you can get it.
Dang, yeah.
Yeah. As part of the scheme, prosecutors said Christopher falsely claimed to be a licensed architect while the couple commingled and client payments in a single or commingled in client payments in a single operating account and used money from one project to fund unrelated jobs. On Tuesday, December 30th of 2025, Christopher pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud, a charge that carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in a federal prison. Raquel pleaded guilty on December 17th to one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and faces up to 5 years behind bars. Both face restitution, fines, and supervised release. Sentencing for Raquel is scheduled for April 14th of this year. Christopher is set to be sentenced on May 12th of 2026, both before U.S. District Judge Terry R. Means. Let's get down to the plastic surgery. Let's see what it says here.
Yeah. Tell me what I really want to know. Did she get her boobs done, Tim?
That's right. We want to know if the tatas have been worked on. Let's see. Kristen Newman told WFAA she hired the judges to build what she believed would be her dream home after paying off other new school loans. I was planning on kind of growing into this house, but we want to know if the judges grew into those tatas. That's what we want to know. She explained that Raquel handled most of the communication while Christopher was introduced as the architect and the builder. Let's see here. They said that they would say maybe a month or 2 months in that things started slowing down quite a bit as far as the building process would go, and that they were already worried about some quality stuff that my husband and dad had already pointed out. This according to the Bushes, who had some work done, Bishes, Sel Bish and Kaylee Bish. They said the first day was really impressive. They came in with a full crew. They had stripped down to the studs. They had the house stripped down and everything. Everything was looking great, and then they disappeared, basically, and took off with the money. They don't say here what they did with the money, though. I want to find out about the surgery here, Jess.
What did she have done?
Yeah, what did she have done?
Her face is already beautiful. There's nothing that she needed to do to it.
Yeah. People Magazine is leaving us hanging here. They're not saying if anything, if they did anything fun with the money. This is bad reporting. They're
definitely not getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, they're just telling us about the victims. Jeremy Congleton, another victim, told NBC Dallas-Fort Worth that he had to file bankruptcy after the judges abandoned his project. His family of four spent 18 months living in an RV.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, while he completed construction on his house himself. He said what he owes me and what we've paid out of pocket and credit card debt, having to file bankruptcy, about $250,000.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah. Congleton told the outlet. All the victims who spoke to NBC Dallas-Fort Worth said they believe most of their money is gone for good, but expressed relief that the couple will no longer be able to take on new clients. Lane hopes their story serves as a warning to others. WFAA reported, specifically urging homeowners to see significantly lower bids from contractors as a warning sign. So if somebody comes in really cheap, that's generally a warning sign that someone's trying to scam you. So. But they don't say anything about, she got, a butt lift and he got like a permanent Brazilian or anything like that.
Yeah, we wanted the Jerry Springer version of this story. Where's that?
We don't get that.
No,
I do have a Jerry Springer-like story next.
Good.
You ready for this?
Yes.
Evidently, if you come from Boston, you can take the man out of Boston, but you can't take the Boston out of the man.
Ooh, this should be good.
You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
A Boston man flips the bird while leading police on a chase in a U-Haul through the Upper Keys in Florida.
Ooh.
First of all, never lead police in a chase in a U-Haul. It's got a governor on it. You're not going over 60.
No.
So I don't know what you're thinking.
You're going nowhere fast.
By the way, doesn't this guy look like Neanderthal straight out of the 60s?
No. Yeah. Totally does.
Yeah. This guy, not too bright, but he decided to antagonize the cops anyways. A Boston man sent law enforcement on a chase through the Upper Keys during the early morning hours of January 6th. According to the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, a report came in regarding a reckless U-Haul driver near MM95 in Key Largo just after 7 a.m. The driver, later identified as 29-year-old Idabek Jaliloff of Boston. Interesting name. Drove past deputies in a school zone at MM90. As he drove by, Jess, deputies say he gave them the middle finger.
Oh, that was a bad choice.
Yeah, well, sometimes life is a series of bad choices.
This is true.
Sometimes we choose to make them, right? Jaliloff was seen impeding traffic, following too closely, and speeding, among other violations. He was just having a bad day. He was just mad at the world.
Sounds like it.
Deputies say Jaliloff did not stop until after the sheriff's office activated lights and sirens until about mile marker 85. He was about 5 miles. He was ultimately handcuffed and taken to the Plantation Key jail. So basically this guy's going through, he's at mile marker, where was he? Mile marker 95 in Key Largo. He's driving along. There's a cop. He gives him the middle finger. He's like,
just cause.
This is for you, copper. Right?
Yours.
The copper's like, you know what? I got nothing better going on. Let's go get this guy.
Yeah.
Right? He's speeding through the school zone. So let's go get him. Let's go find out why he's having such a bad day. And he's speeding, he's tailgating, he's, get out of my way, get out of my way. Right? So they're like, for 5 miles, they light him up. They just go get him. No need to be a dick. Right?
No.
Yeah.
Certainly no need to be a dick.
No need to be a dick. This guy may be either your new hero or your new antagonist. I'm going to show you a picture of him right here. Here's a picture of him looking kind of Kanye West-ish in court.
All right. I can see that for sure.
Right? All right.
It's kind of cool, actually, even though he's wearing a prison jumpsuit. But
yeah, well, there's more to this. He's from New York. This man used his own teeth torn out with pliers to saw through duct tape and escape from a kidnapper.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
He ripped his teeth out with pliers and fashioned some sort of knife or scissors with them.
To saw through duct tape, I guess.
Just what?
Let's get to the story, shall we?
Okay, I need more information.
A New York man who was kidnapped and tortured by a former friend, right? There's no making up in this situation.
There's no going back from this, Tim.
That's right. Provided testimony that put his captor away for decades. 36-year-old Shaw Powell was convicted of kidnapping and torture last month, 2 years after he held Jameel Brown hostage in a shed in DeWitt in upstate New York and viciously tortured him. Brown testified at trial recounting his violent ordeal at the hands of Powell. In courtroom coverage by local news outlet Syracuse.com, Brown told the court that on September 24th, 2023, Powell beat him with metal poles, bit him and burned him with cigarettes. He didn't bury him in cigarettes. That would be kind of pleasurable, wouldn't it? But he bit him and burned him with cigarettes. While he was unconscious, Powell duct taped Brown's wrists to his ankles.
Gosh.
This is not a good ending to a friendship.
What happened? Like, how did we get here?
I think we're about to find out.
I think so.
But the most horrifying detail Brown described in court was how Powell pulled out his 2 front teeth with pliers.
Oh, the kidnapper See, in my brain, when you read it, I thought person kidnapped pulled out his own teeth. The kidnapper did it. Ugh.
In a grotesque moment of necessity, Brown said he got his hands on one of his extracted teeth and used it to saw through the duct tape, which gave him the ability to escape.
Wow. That's incredible and horrifying all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Paul also took the stand and testified that Brown's injuries were due to a fist fight that the men had over a drug deal. Of course, drugs are involved. Prosecutors said he lied while under oath. Before sentencing, prosecutors stated that Powell was a man who was not at all prepared to accept what he had done to another human being. When Powell heard the guilty verdict against him, he lost his cool and punched a wall. Before going to trial, Powell rejected a plea deal that would have sentenced him to 10 years in prison. His defense attorneys asked the judge not to impose a longer sentence because he opted to go to trial. The judge was unmoved by the request, saying this sentence is not punishing Mr. Powell for going to trial. It is punishing Mr. Powell for the completely barbaric assault on Mr. Brown. Powell was sentenced to, are you ready for this, Jess?
Yes.
50 years in prison.
Ooh, I think that's a good place for him.
I think so as well. By the way, the guy in the jumpsuit that you saw was Mr. Powell.
The bad guy.
The
Yeah.
bad guy who did all the damage.
I mean, I feel bad because my sympathy level went down a little bit when you said they were fighting over a drug deal. I'm like,
at that point, you're like, well, bravery aside, they're fighting over drugs. But still, kind of a creepy story. That's
still terrible. No one deserves to be tortured.
That's right. That's right. All right, it's time now for Not Safe for Work. It's the extended version today, as there's lots of lewd, nude, and crude. So you're going to want to get the kids out of the room. They're not going to want to hear these stories. Although that last story was kind of violent, and putting a gun on a kid's backpack, that's a little extreme.
I mean, the whole show, really.
Yeah. It's been kind of an extreme show. And of course, you don't want the boss to hear any of this because you don't want them to think less of you either. So get them both out of the room. We'll start talking adult stuff in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. This next story may not necessarily be lewd, nude, and crude. It's just creepy. I don't know about you, Jess. I have had 1 or 2 stalkers in my day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're quite creepalicious. I don't know.
They're terrifying. Yeah.
Terrifying. Yeah, thank you. I didn't come up with the word you did. Yeah.
That's why we have security cameras.
That's right. This man's copped a plea in a creepy GPS tracker case. You know, GPS can be a wonderful thing and help us get around. GPS can also be turned against us.
Yeah.
This man in Florida, and yes, he is a Florida man, sought to engineer a supposed chance run-in with a woman by hiding a GPS tracker on her car, and he's copped a plea deal in that case. That's the creepiest of creepy. To GPS tracker on a woman's car and then just happen to run into her, you know.
I hate that. Ugh.
That's nuts. In a court hearing, 23-year-old Tyler Strack has pleaded no contest to installing the device on a 22-year-old victim's vehicle while it was parked outside her residence in Safety Harbor. There's irony. Lives in Safety Harbor, a Tampa Bay area city. Strack was initially charged with a felony, but pleaded to a reduced misdemeanor charge. He was ordered to pay fines and court costs totaling around $700. That's it, $700. Portion of which he could reduce by performing community service at a rate of $14 per hour.
Well, that just doesn't seem like nearly enough for what he did.
No, not at all.
Because this is like an escalation thing. Like, this is where he begins. Let's stop him before he gets worse.
That's right. At the time of Strack's arrest last year, the victim told police that she had a brief sexual relationship with him several years ago, which ended with no further substantial contact. In an apparent effort to rekindle that passing fling, Strack bought a Cube brand tracker from Best Buy, placed the device on the woman's car. But the victim discovered the item and contacted police, who then used subpoenas to connect Strack to the Cube purchase. When confronted by investigators, Strack confessed, saying he installed the tracker in an attempt to run into the victim. That is so creepy. An arrest affidavit listed Strack's employer as Chipotle. Evidently, Chipotle's paying you enough to buy cube trackers so you can track down ex-flings, I guess.
Mm.
And his LinkedIn page identifies him as an assistant manager with the restaurant chain. So, that's the guy who's making important decisions for Chipotle. Strack hung up on a reporter who was seeking comment about his plea in the criminal case. So evidently he had no comment about how creepy he really is. There you go. Speaking of creepy, we go to the other side of the law where a BSO sergeant is accused of attacking his wife during an argument over cheating. We go to Pompano Beach, Florida, where a sergeant with the Broward Sheriff's Department was arrested this past week on allegations that he attacked his wife of 12 years, according to an arrest report obtained by Local 10 News. Jail records show that Scott Nelson Nita, who works in Port Everglades, is facing 1 count each of domestic battery by strangulation, false imprisonment of a person, and domestic battery. And I don't normally speak ill of law enforcement, but if you just squint your eyes real hard, real quick, and look at this picture, it looks like a head of a penis. just saying. I just figured I'd throw that in there. Okay. BSO detectives said 911 dispatchers received a report of domestic disturbance at a home in Pompano Beach. The victim, who has lived with Nita for 11 years, told deputies that he first attacked her by grabbing her arm when she attempted to leave the home during an argument over infidelity. The report stated that Nita allegedly grabbed her face and neck to the point where she felt she could not breathe and pushed her to the ground, dragging her across the lawn. Yeah, I don't think you'd be able to breathe at that point. That's pretty much a given.
It's a wild being attacked by a man whose head looks like a penis.
Right.
How terrifying.
Well, yeah. Plus, I mean, all the noises you make. I mean, there's that. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make a joke like that, but I mean,
no, this is a terrible story, but his head actually legit does look like penis. You are not wrong.
I wasn't. And there's a little foreskin for a neck right here. There's that.
Yep, can't unsee it. I'm glad I don't have to see this guy on a regular basis. That'd be awkward.
When you grab him by the collarbone, he turns purple.
It brings a whole new meaning to the dickhead term.
Yeah, dickhead. Yeah. See? They said Nita followed her. Oh, by the way, deputies said when the victim was able to free herself, she ran towards her vehicle in an attempt to get away. They said Nita followed her, pushed her into the passenger seat of her vehicle, and drove away until she was able to convince him to let her go. Nita's arrest report states that he admitted everything was his fault. Well, duh. After allegedly attacking her. Shortly after, deputies said Nita cleaned her face and told her to put makeup on it to cover the injuries so that the injuries did not appear so apparent. They said the victim then left the home and drove to her residence, or to her own residence, to meet with her daughter. Deputies said the victim had scratch marks to her face and neck and bruises that appeared to be from possible finger imprints to her neck. Broward County Sheriff Gregory Toney released a statement to Local 10 News in regard to Nita's arrest. Domestic violence is unacceptable, especially from someone who is sworn to uphold the law, Toney wrote. When a sworn member is accused of this type of crime, they are held to the same standards as any other member of the public. Authorities said Nita was hired by BSO on January 18th of 2005. He is currently on administrative investigative leave without pay. Nita didn't have much to say to Local 10 News after posting a $20,000 bond and leaving Broward Main Jail. A judge ordered him to have no contact with the victim, stay away from her home and workplace, wear a GPS monitor, and surrender any weapons, firearms, or ammunition. And that basically is the end of that story there. Yeah, looks like a complete dickhead.
Yeah, totally.
By the way, if you ever wanted to see what a dickhead in a mask looks like, that's what it looks like right there. Dickhead in a mask.
Yep.
Okay. I promise we'll lighten it up with this story. Believe it or not, Jess, when you go to Miami Beach, again, we're staying in Florida, there's an organic grocer there. That's a completely nude grocer. I don't know why people would want to go through the produce section completely nude, but they do.
Oh, I mean, yuck. Like, I don't even want to buy my apples if I think people's hands have been touching them, let alone their ding-alongs hanging out while they walk by.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah, I get it. There's a little bit of a controversy here with the nude grocer. If I remember right, I thought there was an arrest here, but I guess not.
No, it's just that they exist.
It's just that they exist. I pulled the story thinking that there was an arrest here. I guess not. It was just, there's a nude grocer in Miami. Congratulations.
Hey, to each their own. Just don't make my dinner with your groceries bought at the nude grocery store, please, and thank you.
Well, it reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where Kramer's making everything in the shower.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. But Miami has a nude. I'll just tell you about it briefly, and then I guess we'll move on, because I thought for some reason they got busted, but I guess they didn't. The nude grocer is. Let me grab the first part of the story here. It was founded by Charles Amine, Harry Miller, and Sebastian Lescano. Of course, 3 guys founded it. Nude Miami was born from a simple frustration shared by countless locals: the lack of a truly clean, thoughtful, curated grocery experience. Who's thinking, God, I'd love to go shop for groceries in my birthday suit?
Oh, Tim, there are plenty of people. I actually knew a friend, an old friend, who dated a guy who was a total nudist, and they would go to these nudist camps.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't well known, people didn't really know about this, but we were friends. She confided in me. They invited me over for dinner one time, and I was like, "Are there going to be pubes in my food? Did he cook this naked?"
Oh, thank you.
Oh, the thoughts that went through my brain. But, there are people that just like to be naked, so I'm sure there's a market for a nude grocery store. You won't find me at it, but.
No, I hear you. I wouldn't go. They said, we decided to build Nude Miami to solve a problem that we had in our own lives. that it is. It's a problem in your own life. And it turns out a lot of people feel the same, they said. Amine said he already received overwhelming interest from residents eager for the grocer to open in their own neighborhood. The grocery store is 4,720 feet. It's in Brickell, Miami, or in Brickell, Florida.
Okay.
It brings together everything health-minded Miamians want under one roof: organic groceries, better-for-you snacks, non-toxic wellness essentials, and highly selective assortments of brands vetted with uncompromising standards. No GMOs, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no seed oils. Everything is clean.
So they say.
You better be clean if you walk in there. Your ass better not be stanking if you're walking around there naked.
No doubt. I'm definitely washing my vegetables when I get home, though. I can tell you that.
That's right.
Hand sanitizer
everywhere.
over my whole body.
That's right. It
You're
better
gonna have to drink it.
better slather yourself in Purell when you walk in.
Head to toe, Tim.
That's right. Yeah. It's at 1100 Brickell Bay Drive in Miami. By the way, if you want to check them out, folks, nudemiami.com.
Oh my gosh. Somebody please go there and take a selfie and send it to us.
Yeah.
You don't have to go inside. I'm not saying send us naked selfies. Let me rephrase.
Yeah, you're gonna get them. You're gonna get them in your email, kid, not me. I don't want them. You're gonna have a bunch of guys with their sausages hanging out.
Fully clothed, just out the front. Standing in front of it, not nude
yes,
inside.
I'm at the deli. It's me and my sausages.
Is that a package of hot dogs? Oh
no.
Look at that eggplant. It's huge.
No. Hey, wait a minute. Are you in the deli section? Is that roast beef? No. No.
Oh,
No.
that's a sad one.
No. Anyway, next story. Let's move on. This exec got slapped on the wrist for a golden shower. Yes, we're moving right on into the extreme. We're just getting worse and worse
Oh my.
as you take a drink.
I can't take any more drinks. I almost blew my water out my nose.
This 30-year-old man peed on his victims from a rooftop bar perch. You may remember this story.
Yes, I will never forget that story. That is so scary.
This New York advertising exec got his sentence this week. He was arrested for urinating on several victims from a rooftop bar and will perform community service and be prohibited from using alcohol or mind-altering substances as part of his deal with prosecutors. A judge has approved a pretrial intervention agreement between Matthew Day, who's all of 30 years old, and the state attorney's office in connection with the accused man's 1:30 a.m. aerial assault at a St. Petersburg, Florida night spot. Day was arrested in July on disorderly conduct at the Landing, so to speak. Actually, that's the name of the bar, the Landing.
Oh.
Guess what just landed on your forehead? Yeah. Which advertises itself as an elevated hangout balcony bar. Police allege that Day entered the rooftop bar, pulled his penis out of his shorts, and urinated from the balcony onto the sidewalk. Downstream, several passerbys were struck with urine. That's in the actual police report. Cops reported that Day showed an indication of alcohol influence when he was collared for the vile golden shower. As part of the pretrial agreement, Day has accepted responsibility for the misdemeanor crime, will perform 50 hours of community service, undergo alcohol evaluation and counseling, and pay supervision and prosecution fees. Day, who is scheduled for a court status conference, is also barred from bars and clubs during the agreement's 6-month term. It's probably for the best. I would think so. We don't have a repeat.
He should just stay home.
Yeah. Use his own urinal for a while.
Yeah.
Or if he really wants to pee off a rooftop, he can do it off his own, I think.
Yeah.
Just scare his neighbors for a while. According to his LinkedIn profile, Day is a Penn State graduate who co-founded Ribeye Media in 2023 and is the firm's head of client success.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The New York ad tech company is a unified and workflow platform built for local media that helps broadcasters and media sales organizations plan, execute, and report digital advertising. So he was meant to be on a billboard, Jess.
Yeah, this can't be good for business, though.
No. No. See your name up in lights, or at least your dick. That's the slogan of Ribeye Media. Ribeye Media, your meat could be seen leaking up on a billboard too. Ribeye Media. All right, our next story. This man coerced women to have, or a woman rather, to have sex with dozens of strangers for decades, and more arrests could be coming. Let me ask you, Jess, this guy right here, could he convince you to have sex with many, many men?
He could convince me of nothing, Tim.
That's what I thought. Yeah, he couldn't convince me to sit down and have a sandwich with him. 67-year-old Rodney Johnston was sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison. Thank you, Jesus. On Friday, January 9th, as the victim spoke out saying he left her with no voice and no choice. A British man. Do you think it was the accent?
Well, the accents are cool. Hypnotizing in a way.
He was sentenced to prison for the remainder of his life after being found guilty of forcing a woman to have sex with more than 100 men over a 30-year period.
What on earth? Huh.
Was he a hypnotist?
But I was going to say that the accent isn't that cool.
67-year-old Rodney Johnston was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 16 years during a hearing at the Norwich Crown Court on Friday, January 9th, according to the BBC, Sky News, and a news release from the Norfolk Police. Judge Alice Robinson and Johnston's crimes, rape in all but name during Friday's hearing, BBC reported, going out became a byword for her being raped by strangers, Robinson said, while handing down Johnston's sentencing, per the outlet. Johnston was found guilty last September of forcing a woman to have sex with more than 100 men in a remote countryside location over a 30-year period between 1994 and 2024, during which he also filmed and photographed the assaults.
Oh, gosh.
Yikes. The outlet reported that local authorities discovered more than 30,000 images and videos documenting the woman's abuse over the last 3 decades. British prosecutors said Johnston used threats and intimidation to force the woman into having intercourse with those men. Norfolk police said the abuse consisted of outings, that's in quotes, in which Johnston would take the woman to secluded woodland or prearranged hotel rooms where the victim would be made to engage sexually with multiple men. He was convicted on 3 counts of procuring a woman to have sexual intercourse by threats or intimidation, 2 counts of causing a person to engage in sexual activity without consent, and 1 count of intimidation of a witness. Authorities indicated that they'll continue to investigate Johnston's crimes to determine if others should be held accountable and responsible. I think they should be.
Yes, every single person that they can find.
Find all 100 men or however many there were.
Yeah.
They're all accountable, all responsible. Our focus will now shift to establishing if any further offenses have been committed, and if so, we'll conduct a thorough investigation to identify those responsible and do everything we can to bring them to justice. Senior Investigating Officer Duncan Woodhams told the BBC. The woman whose identity remains anonymous also reportedly spoke out against Johnston in court for the first time prior to his sentencing on Friday. For the first time in decades, I am free, she said to Norfolk Police. I found myself in a situation I never imagined I would be in, the victim added. What I then went on to endure, I would not wish on anybody. I had no voice and no choice. The woman called Johnston a monster who treated her like nothing more than an object. She said, I felt dirty, sick, used, degraded, humiliated, and terrified. But this became my norm, she told the court. I no longer know who I am. Now I must rebuild myself, and I often feel lost and unsure where to begin. I feel anxious about the future, but for the first time in decades, I am free. I'm glad she is. And by the way, it says here, if you're a victim of sexual abuse, you can text STRENGTH to the crisis text line at 741-741 to be connected to a certified crisis counselor. So, there you go. All right. I'm going to show you a picture here, Jess, of a fellow Iowan.
Okay.
And we're going to play Name the Crime.
Huh. Okay. I mean, she looks cute. But she did something bad, huh?
Yeah, I would say, okay, if you had to guess the college, Iowa or Iowa State?
I'm going to say Iowa.
You say she's a Hawkeye?
Yeah, she's a Hawkeye for sure.
Pretty much, I would say.
Cyclones don't do naughty things. They're angels.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. All right.
Is her offense something to do with drugs?
I would say you're probably wrong in this one. I'm going to tell you the city here, and you're going to go, oh!
Okay.
Okay. Here's a headline. Naked woman arrested after she goes on bloody rampage inside Iowa convenience store.
Bloody rampage naked?
Yep. And guess where it happened?
Not in Ames.
Mason City.
Oh, gosh. That's not far from my hometown. I might know her.
You might. And it happened in the only place you can get good pizza in Iowa, and that's at Casey's.
Oh, I love Casey's pizza.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
It really is.
An Iowa convenience store was the setting of an incredible scene that unfolded last month and involved a naked woman who police allege went on a destructive frenzy that resulted in thousands of dollars in damage. Business as usual at Casey's General Store in Mason City was interrupted back on December 19th when a stark naked Sherry Ray Decker, do you know her? Okay.
I do know some Deckers, though, but I don't think they're related to her.
Waltzed in. According to local reports, she was covered in blood, and it was not from the local day's business there at the Decker farm, I'm sure. 32-year-old Decker entered the store that morning at approximately 9:30 a.m. and started to knock over a shelving unit, which caused several bottles to smash against the ground. When an employee walked up to her in an attempt to calm her down, she allegedly pushed the worker. Decker next started hurling various items at the store staff, according to the reports, including those from KIMT News 3 and Radio Iowa. Radio Iowa, is that like Radio Russia? I mean, I worked in Iowa for a while. I think it probably is. Police claim Decker's wild rampage also resulted in tarnished consumable items. I've also eaten in Iowa. There's no such thing.
Ooh. You just eat anything. It doesn't matter if it's covered in blood.
Doesn't matter. Her blood splashed onto some of the store's products packaging, requiring their destruction. The reports indicate there was so much blood in the store, it was forced to close due to the hazardous conditions. What was she working her way through? A professional cleaning was hired to clean the business, it says here. None of the reports, however, indicate if Decker was covered in her blood, in her own blood, or someone else's blood. And if the latter, whose blood? All told, the bloody nude rampage cost the store's owners more than $10,000. That amount includes the estimate of lost sales the store would have made if otherwise open.
Wow, that's crazy.
Sherry
What
Ray.
a scene.
Yeah. And you know,
in Mason City.
Yeah, Mason City. But I'll tell you something. I bet you that Sherry Ray Decker, boy, I bet you she could probably screw like a harlot.
Oh. She's a wild one, Tim.
She's a wild one, I'll tell you. It's the ones that go into a Casey's covered in blood, naked, and going on a rampage. Those are the ones that you never want to leave. I'll tell you.
Those are the ones that you never get to leave because they're crazy and they murder you when you try to leave.
Yeah, but boy, I tell you that's 25 of the most fun minutes of your life. I'll tell you that much. Now.
She was really cute, so I mean, I can understand, but clearly has a few issues, Timmy.
Yeah. This one, though, I can't make an excuse for this next one. Our next headline, a nude Louisiana woman attacked a cop who told her to leave a private pond because she was trying to be a mermaid.
Oh,
it's cute.
Oh, that's my dream.
You can see yourself in this situation. Here,
yeah, I'm
I want you
busy here trying to be a mermaid.
Oh, I can't hear you. What'd you say?
Oh, I said she's cute. She could be a mermaid.
I don't know about that. Louisiana law enforcement official was allegedly attacked this last Tuesday, January 6th, by a naked woman who informed investigators she had aspirations of becoming a mermaid.
Oh my gosh, she was literally like tripping or something.
Yeah, she was like, "Leave me alone, I want to swim." She was out of her mind.
I thought she just was living her fantasy.
Let me tell you how out of her mind she was, Jess. How old do you think this girl/woman was? I want to play a little game here with you.
I mean, she looks youngish. Okay, but I don't have my glasses on right now. So I'm saying she's cute, and you're like, oh, she's a blur to me, honestly.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna say like 19-ish. Like she looks young.
You would think with the behavior, right? I just want to be just let me swim, right? Just let me go.
Yeah.
Just want to give me a fin and I just want to disappear into the water. You would think, oh my gosh, that's the cutest little
She's in her 40s. She's middle-aged, isn't she?
She is. She's 41. She clearly is off the deep end.
And I clearly can't see.
That's all right. I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you to put on your glasses and look at her. That's fine. The Union Parish Sheriff's Office said in a statement in Us Weekly that Erin Elizabeth Sutton, who's 41 years old, generated a call to 911 allegedly trespassing on a property in Linville. The property has a substantial pond that belongs to her neighbor who called police for help. So evidently this isn't the first time she tried to escape and be a mermaid in the neighbor's pond.
She has a plan, Tim. There's a seed of desire planted inside of her. She is a mermaid, and she will be a mermaid.
Yeah.
Get out of her way.
The caller told dispatchers that Sutton had been swimming nude in their pond and refused to leave the water.
Can you imagine? You just look out at your pond and there's just some naked middle-aged woman just.
Hey, Elizabeth, put on some fucking clothes and get out of my yard.
I'm a mermaid. Leave me alone.
Yeah, and I'm a fucking millionaire. Get out of my yard. As officers were arriving at the caller's home, they learned that Sutton had allegedly started screaming when she was asked to leave the water. Yes, she started screaming at cops. I'm a mermaid.
Look at my fins. Obviously, I'm a mermaid.
Somebody's watched Big one too many times.
Oh, I did love that movie.
The caller said that this was not the first time Sutton had availed herself of the pond and that repeated past warnings to stay out of the water had been summarily ignored.
Is she on something or is she like actually crazy? I'm fascinated by this.
Deputies allegedly tried reasoning with Sutton. Oh, good luck on that one. Who allegedly refused at first to get out as she was trying to be a mermaid. The statement confirmed the officers eventually coaxed the sea nymph wannabe out of the pond and called EMS to evaluate Sutton. The statement said that when they tried moving Sutton into an unspecified home, she suddenly started to charge at one of the deputies.
She's an angry mermaid, Tim.
That mermaid crazy. Sutton was tased at that point, but cops said the electrical jolt had zero effect and she continued toward the officer.
Oh my, I cannot imagine. You have to be batshit if you are that insane. You get tased and you're like, I'm still coming.
A bad shit mermaid.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be a story that every kid should read. The bad.
It's my picture book coming out next year.
That's book
The batshit crazy mermaid.
Book number 5 for the kids next year. It is alleged that when Sutton reached him, she kicked and punched the deputy. It was then that the batshit mermaid wound up and kicked him in the jewels. The statement notes that Sutton was finally restrained and taken to the hospital, allegedly threatening to kill the deputies and the paramedics the whole way there.
Oh.
To and fro, it came to blows. The batshit mermaid kicked him in the... The statement fails to mention if the deputy sustained any injuries in the attack. Evidently, she wasn't landing those blows very hard.
She's just a swinging.
She's a
and
swinging.
Cussing.
That's a John Anderson song, isn't it?
I know that song. I used to love that song.
She's just a swinging. Sutton has been charged with 3 counts of resisting an officer with force of violence, 2 counts of public intimidation, 2 counts of battery on a police officer, 1 count of disturbing the peace and drunkenness, 1 count of criminal trespassing, and 1 count of being a chicken of the sea. The police statement did not mention anything about Sutton being intoxicated at the time of the incident, although the disturbing of the peace drunkenness charge indicates that they believe she was. If convicted on the public intimidation account alone, Sutton could be sentenced to 5 years. Sutton had Sutton has her bond set at $62,000. That's how much being a mermaid costs.
They're like, we're not having it, lady.
It's unclear if Sutton remains in police custody. Plea and attorney information for the woman also isn't available at press time.
I mean, I sincerely hope that she was intoxicated, because if that was done unintoxicated, you get this woman some help.
Right. Although, kind of fun. But if you thought that story was fun, Jess, our last story might have that one beat.
Oh gosh, I can't even imagine, but I'm ready for it.
I think I got a topper for you here.
Mm-hmm.
Literally a topper for you here.
Oh, no.
Here we go. Here we go. If I can get my iPad wants to give up now. It's like, oh no, we can't. Not another one. Another one. Here is the story. If it won't give up on me. Florida man dressed in red lace bra. And then the browser closed down on me.
Your poor iPad's like, please stop making me show you these stories.
Florida man dressed in red lace bra accused of hiding gun under prosthetic silicone breasts. It was ugly. Was the quote. All right, here's the story. A Florida man landed behind bars after Polk County deputies, we're going to Polk County, Florida, by the way. Polk County deputies say he had a gun hidden under prosthetic silicone breasts while he was trespassing at a construction site. There's a lot here. Let's break it down for you, shall we?
That's a lot to unpack.
It is. But at least he didn't have a mermaid costume on. According to Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd, he's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh.
39-year-old Matthew Zaccarino of Altamonte Springs was sitting in a vehicle by himself at a construction site last month. When deputies approached him, they said he was wearing a red lace bra with prosthetic silicone breasts because why not? It's Friday night. Then we notice he's wearing a G-string, showing off the boys. You know what I mean?
Whoa. Oh my.
Sheriff Grady Judd.
I think this is what he imagined his life would be like when he was a kid, and he's like, I want to grow up and be a sheriff.
I think he did. I think Grady Judd said, you know what? I want to be as descriptive as I can in my press conference.
Yeah.
I want to pick the most outrageous stories and present them to the media.
What a job. What a wonderful, amazing job.
Judd went on to explain that it's hard to know how dangerous these situations are because under the prosthesis, deputies found a gun. And not the gun, but a gun. Not the gun.
That is scary, honestly. Obviously, this guy is, a few bricks short of a full load, and he's packing.
You said full load. The sheriff said that Zaccarino claimed he was going to a costume party, but when deputies asked where the party was, they said he stopped talking.
Right here.
That's party's always been right here. Can you imagine? He's mad at us for trying to find out why he's wearing lace bras with guns and G-strings or G-somethings, Judd said. It was ugly. It was so ugly. Right? Zaccarino was charged with armed trespassing with a firearm, loitering or prowling, and resisting an officer without violence. And that, Jess, is how we end today's program.
Oh, you can't top that. It's like the cherry on top of the sundae.
That's right. We do have our palate cleanser, though, and literally for our palate cleanser today, we're going to talk Girl Scout cookies because those little crack dealers are back.
Oh, good. I love them. I'm out. I need some.
Well, it's that season. And of course, they got to keep you coming back for more. So what do? They switch it up on you, Jess. They take one away, they add a couple. They take one away, they add a couple. They take a couple away, they add one. That's the way they work. You know why? Because they got to keep you coming back for more. I'm telling you, the Girl Scouts of America are making little crack dealers as we speak.
Oh, they definitely are. And we're all addicted.
Girl Scout cookie season's officially here, and there's a new treat to try. That's right. There's a new flavor out there. but they've taken a couple off the table because they know that's how they operate. They want you hooked. They want you so goddamn hooked. All right. It's officially Girl Scout cookie season. That means Thin Mints. That means Caramel Delights, otherwise known as Samoas. That means peanut butter patties, also known as Tagalongs. Girl Scout cookie season also is a moment of joy and tradition, and this year promises to be incredibly exciting. Wendy Liu, who oversees the Girl Scout of the USA, otherwise known as Pimp Mama Extraordinaire. That's what I call her, at least. Said in a January 6th release announcing celebrating launch day, we're thrilled to introduce the new delicious Explore More's cookie. You ready for this?
Yes.
While Toast, Yay, and S'mores cookies are off the table, they've been retired. You can't get them no mo. Explore More's is a cookie inspired by Rocky Road ice cream, and will make their cookie menu debut this year. Ready?
That sounds yummy.
Listen to the description here, Jess. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Clear your mind. Here we go. Filled with delicious flavors of chocolate, marshmallow, and toasted almond flavor cream, Explore More's reflect the spirit of exploration at the heart of every Girl Scout. The release shared with Southern Living read when the flavor was announced in September of 2025.
That's some good marketing copy right there. I'm impressed. I'm hungry. I'm craving.
Explore More's will join classics like Thin Mints, Caramel Delights or Samoas, peanut butter patties or tagalongs, peanut butter sandwich or do-si-dos, and trefoils. As will newer cookies like the lemonades or lemonades, which are my favorite. Those little crack dealers have me hooked. And adventurefuls. He's stocked up on Thin Mints and lemonades.
Yes, we have to have a lot of Thin Mints at our house. They go so fast.
Yeah. By the way, you'll be seeing them in a supermarket near you, dealing these little suckers, or on every corner everywhere, or in an office building being peddled by your coworkers.
Just walking down the street with their wagons.
That's right. Relatively soon. So look for that new cookie, the Explore More. It's coming at you. And finally, without further ado, because you've got that Explore More in your mouth, here's something that shouldn't be in your mouth. Are you ready for this?
Maybe.
The beloved walrus penis has been stolen from a New Jersey cheesesteak icon, Jess.
Wow. Yeah, that should not be in your mouth.
Yeah. And the owner is blubbering mad. I don't blame him. If my beloved walrus penis was stolen from my New Jersey cheesesteak icon, I would be blubbering mad as well. I can't get this story to move for the life of me. I think just the headline itself is.
That's all we need. I really think, Tim, your iPad wanted to be owned by a child and just play video games. It's just rebelling.
I think so. It's just that I've had enough today. I've had enough.
I don't want this smut. I don't want to share this.
It's starting to move. Essentially, Donkey's Place in Camden is the name. I know Donkey's Place is the name. Is well known for its iconic cheesesteaks. So good that Anthony Bourdain himself once called it the best in Philadelphia, despite their location across the Delaware River in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Owner Rob Lucas Jr. told New Jersey Advanced Media that Donkey's Place has kept a walrus baculum, or a bone in the penis of many mammals, behind the bar for so long, and as long as he can remember. It's a popular conversation piece that sits along with a megalodon tooth and several other artifacts. Diners often come in for cheesesteaks and drinks and ask about what this peculiar bone is. Huh? That a walrus penis bone, or are you just happy to see me? Right? Bartenders let them take a look and guess before revealing the answer. But last week, a customer stole that phallic favorite. The bartender handed it out for them to figure out. He used to hand it out to figure it out what it was. So he'd say, here, touch my bone.
Wow. This is weird.
It is weird. She went to the back to do something else, and then someone took it. When she said, here, touch it and figure it out. And then she went to the back, and then someone just took it. They just
left. Yeah, they're just like, this penis is mine.
Yep. The bartender said, we got his picture, but I don't think he's from around here. Donkey's Place posted a TikTok video on New Year's Eve featuring the bartender who was involved in the incident, urging the customer to return the walrus penis. So please bring back the walrus dick, if you would. Yeah. They're not the same without it, they say.
They need it.
Yeah. Donkey's Place needs their walrus dick. If you could.
How odd that they don't have a donkey dick instead of a walrus dick. It's just so odd.
I don't think donkeys have a bone in their dick.
Really? Huh.
Lucas, the grandson of the original Donkeys owner, Leon Donkey Lucas, said he doesn't want to press charges following the incident. It simply wants the decades-old item returned to its home on Haddon Avenue. Donkey's Place hasn't attempted to contact the man who used a credit card to pay for his meal. So they know who this is. They can get the walrus dick.
Oh. Well, then they should just go there and get it.
They should. We didn't want to file a police report or anything like that. Lucas said, we just want the thing back. So there you go. That's your pal.
We just want the thing back. And you are correct. Donkeys and horses do not have bones in their penises.
See? I just took a swing at the dick and I got it.
But a walrus does. How odd that they have a bone.
Well, that's where
then is it always erect? I got to stop thinking about this.
You're putting too much into it, Jess. That's what she said. Hello.
Oh. Well, we made it. We got through all the dirty stuff and we cleansed our palates with a walrus stick. That's hard to say.
Walrus dirt.
It's like I had it in my mouth. I couldn't get the words out.
And it's a big bone at that. Thank you very much. Hello. Well, with that, Jess, what do you have going on in your world?
Oh, not a whole lot, Tim. It's pretty quiet right now. I'll just be hiding away in my hidey hole writing books for a bit.
There you go. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, on this side, let's see. I'm cooking up some stuff here. I'll have a little bit more for you here, maybe in the next day or two. But I'm working on some stuff. I can tell you this much. I'm working on a brand new 20th anniversary logo with the great Howie Noel.
Very cool.
And we're getting the final graphic here. By the time you listen to the show, we should have the final graphic. So,
yay!
Oh, hopefully we'll have merchandise and everything here shortly. So we may have it by the end of the week. Maybe by the end of the week.
That's very exciting.
Yeah. So you may have 20th anniversary Darkness Radio merchandise. So there you go. I know I've been promising merchandise for a long time. I know. It's
happening.
It's like the missing walrus penis bone. One of them may turn up soon. Yeah. So there's that. Let's see. Tomorrow on the big program, Supernatural News with Mally Fox. And then Thursday, an old friend returns to the show a little bit early. I wasn't going to have him on until summer, but he's requested time.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
I don't know if I'm alarmed by that or not. You know, maybe it's fitting. I'll just say maybe it's fitting. You know, the third week in January, I've been trying to follow this anniversary theme, but the third week in January in 2006 was Rosemary Ellen Guiley. and she's no longer with us. So they say I can't have Rose on. So I was trying to think of who I could put in her place, but then magically this person came across.
Meant to be.
Meant to be. So we'll kind of spring this on you on Thursday. So, yeah. Maybe I can communicate with her. No, I won't do that cheap. I won't do that cheap trick. That's for cornball people on YouTube.
We are not cornball people.
No, we're not.
At Darkness Radio.
That's right. But it's interesting that this person asked me for your guys' attention.
Yeah, I'm super intrigued.
Yeah. So they wanted an audience with you. So I'm one to oblige.
And I'm going to listen.
Yeah. So that is coming up on Thursday. So in the meantime, Supernatural News with Mally tomorrow. That's all I got for today. Again, keep if you're watching this on video and you're not listening on audio, be sure to like and subscribe. And we will see you tomorrow for Supernatural News with Mally. Thank you again, folks, for continuing to watch and listen to us here on the best in true crime podcasting. And again, if you have stories for dumb crime, stupid criminals, send them in. Tim@darknessradio.com. For Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for watching and listening to us right here on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.
For more audio and video archives of True Crime Tuesday, intriguing content, fun events, and cool swag, check out darknessradioshow.com. The executive producer of True Crime Tuesday is Troy Palmer. If you enjoyed today's program, make sure you like and subscribe. This videocast is copyrighted for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this videocast, including video, audio, descriptions, or accounts of today's show, is prohibited without the consent of Darkness Radio Management. Thank you for watching. And be sure to join us tomorrow for Supernatural News with Mally Fox.